Hello friends. So today we are going to talk about the parameter called as or device called as capacitor and the term related to it, that is capacitance. So when we are starting with the concept of capacitor, we have obviously heard about the terms like resistor in the world of electricity and magnetism, and we have even heard about the term called as inductor. So these are like prominent devices which we use in the concept of electricity and electronic devices. So whenever we talk about any electronic devices, in all these electronic devices there is a presence of some basic components, like we can say resistor, or we can even talk about inductors, and we can even talk about the capacitors. So these are the basic concepts, or which are the basic components which are present in all the electronic devices. Now we in this part, or in this video, we are going to specifically talk about capacitors, the component which is basically or mostly used in all the electronic devices. Now when we say capacitors, what do you mean by capacitors? Like the way we say resistor. Resistor is something which is used for opposition to electric current. So whenever we want to oppose the electric current, we are going to make use of a device called as resistor. But why is capacitor used? Like there are many electronic devices in which we require the storage of energy or storage of charges. So to store the charges or to store the energy in that particular device, we need to use a component, and that component is nothing but capacitor. So like for example, when we talk about fan, which is obviously used in our day-to-day life, that is a device which is used to store the energy, or that device requires the storage of energy or storage of charges. So if in an example of fan, if I say I want to store charges, I want to store energy, so obviously I have to make use of the component called as capacitor inside the fan. So this capacitor is like most basic component which is used in all the electronic devices. And if I want to store energy or store charges, then the most wide used component is capacitor. So obviously, what is capacitor? Capacitor is nothing but a component used for storing charges in the form of electrical energy. So if you want to store the electrical energy, or if you want to store the electrical charges, the component which we prefer is capacitors. Obviously, if you are aware that whenever we show this exact line, this is nothing but the representation of resistor. As soon as we are seeing this particular sign, we say that this is nothing but resistor. In a similar manner, the symbolic representation of capacitors are nothing but denoted as two parallel lines. They both should be of equal length and they should be separated by certain distance. This is a symbolic representation of capacitors, and the symbol is written as C. So capacitors are nothing but used for storing electrical charges in the form of electrical energy. And if you want to identify what is the representation of capacitors in any electronic device or in any electrical circuit, which term or which component is representing capacitor, we need to search for this diagrammatical representation of capacitors. Next is, there are many types of capacitors used in our day-to-day life, but the most basic type of capacitor is parallel plate capacitor. Now what do you mean by parallel plate capacitor is that you have two metal plates, and these two metal plates are of certain cross-sectional area. As you can see, this is the first metal plate and this is the second metal plate. They're of a certain cross-sectional area, and the cross-sectional area of both the plates are considered to be equal. Secondly, they are not touching each other. They are separated by a certain distance and by a certain medium. So mostly, if I consider two conducting material, that is one sheet like this and the second sheet like this, These two plates are nothing but conducting material, and I can say that if they are conducting, that means I can consider that the plates to be made up of metals. So if I have two metal plates separated by a gap between them, so in this gap generally there will be presence of air. And when we consider air, as we have discussed this in the previous videos, that air is considered to be the gaseous dielectric. So the two metal plates separated by the gaseous dielectric, that is air, the whole arrangement is nothing but called as parallel plate capacitors. Or the other way of representing capacitor is that two conducting surfaces or two conducting sheets separated by non-conducting gap will be considered as capacitors, and the distance between the two plates is given to be small d. So this is how you make a parallel plate capacitor. Next is, if I connect this parallel plate capacitor to an external voltage supply, it is going to look like this. So this is one metal plate. So we can write this as the first metal plate. And when we look at this, this represents the second metal plate. And they both are having a separation of small d. And the metal plates are connected to the two terminals of the external supply. This metal plate is connected to the positive terminal. This metal plate is connected to the negative terminal of the external supply. And as soon as we connect the metal plates to an external supply, there is some phenomena which is going to occur inside the capacitor. Let's look what is going to happen to this. As you can see in this diagram, this is nothing but indicating battery. And obviously, if I switch on this battery, what is going to happen is the external voltage is going to get applied. This is indicating nothing but capacitor. That is, these two are the metal plates. This is the first metal plate, or you can say the conducting material. This is the second metal plate, that is the second conducting material. And they are separated by a gap between them or a medium between them. This is nothing but the insulating medium, and the basic insulating or dielectric medium taken to be is air. So we can say that the two conducting materials separated by air, and air is a dielectric material, that is insulating material. Next, what we are trying to do over here is, as you can see in the previous part, the negative and positive charges are aligned on this particular plate. As I switch on this battery, there will be transfer of negative charges from here to this part of the plate, and the positive charges are going to move in the opposite direction. So negative charges are coming from one plate to another, and the positive charges are moving in from one plate to another but in opposite direction. So initially the negative and positive charges are placed together on both the plates, but as soon as I switch on the battery, the negative charges get transferred from one plate to another. That is, positive charges are also going to go from one plate to another, separating the charges on the plate. So ultimately, as you can see, that after the process of transfer is getting completed, I have this plate to be completely positively charged and this plate to be completely negatively charged. But after the completion of the whole transfer, then only the one conducting plate is going to be positively charged lastly, and the second conducting plate is going to be negatively charged. So we can say that if I have one plate to be positively charged and second plate to be negatively charged, separated by a dielectric between them, this is nothing but the way capacitor is used. So in this case, we can say that whenever we talk about capacitors, we say that you have one plate charged with plus q charge, and on the another plate we can have the minus q charge. So as I said that this first plate is having positive charge, so this is, we can say it has the presence of plus q charge, and on this ultimately after all the transfer gets over, this plate is going to have minus q charge. So the top plate is going to be completely positively charged, that is plus q, and the second plate is going to be completely negative charge, that is minus q. So the two metal plates or the two conducting plates are given two charges, that is one on one plate we have positive charges and on the another plate negative charges, and these two conducting plates are separated by the dielectric, and basically air is taken to be the dielectric. And as I've stored positive charges on one plate and negative charges on the another plate, so if I look at the whole process, we have tried to store charges, or we can say we have tried to store electric charges on the plates of the conducting material. So if we are storing charges on this conducting plate, we can say that these charges are storing or getting stored in the form of electrical energy. So in this manner we can store charges on the plates of the conductor, that is on the two plates of the capacitor. Next thing is that as ultimately after the transfer of all the charges from one plate to another, this plate is developing plus q charge and this plate develops minus q charge. So if I look at the potentials of the two plate, obviously the plate which is having positive charge is considered to be at higher potential. So as we have seen that we have developed positive charge on one plate and negative charge on the another plate after the complete transfer of charges. So as you can see in the diagram that we have two conducting plates, and on one we have positive charges and on another we have equal number of negative charges. So we can say that on this first conducting plate we have the charges of plus q and on the second we have minus q. So the plate which has plus q charge, it is considered to be at higher potential. So this plate, that is we can consider this has two plates, that is A and B. They are separated by distance d. The plate which has positive charges deposited on them, it is going to be considered to be at higher potential, and the another plate which is kept in front of it parallel to that first plate, this plate has it consist of minus q charges, so they have lower potential. So the two conducting plates of the capacitors have different potential. The one which has plus q charges, it has higher potential, and the other one which has negative charges has lower potential. So obviously the way we say, like if we have waterfall, the water is always going to fall from higher height to lower height. That means if there is a height difference, there will be fall of water, and if there is no height difference, there will be no fall of water. In a similar manner, as I talked about the height difference, in a similar case we can talk about the potential difference. As you can see that one plate is at higher potential because of the positive charges, other plate is at lower potential due to the negative charges. So between the two plates we can say that there is a occurrence of potential difference, because the one plate is at higher potential and the another plate is at lower potential. So we can say that between the two conducting plates of the capacitor there is an occurrence of potential difference. So if there is a potential difference between the two plates, that means due to the charges deposited on the capacitors, and obviously the question arises that how much is the potential difference between the two plate, that will be equal to the battery's terminal voltage. Like if I say the battery's terminal voltage is 15 volt, in that case, the potential difference between the two plates is going to be of 15 volt. That means the potential difference between the two conducting plates of the capacitor is equal to the terminal battery voltage. So if the battery voltage is 15 volt, the potential difference between the two capacitors is also going to be 15 volt. Next is, when we talk about the potential difference, we say that potential difference between the two plates of capacitor is equal to battery's terminal voltage, and as I said, the capacitor is used for storing charges. So if the potential difference between the two plate of capacitor is high, the amount of charges stored on the capacitors will be more. And if I provide less potential to that plates of capacitor, the amount of charges stored on the capacitors will be less. That means the amount of charges that are stored on the plates of the capacitor is completely dependent on potential difference applied to the two plates. So if the potential difference applied to the plate is more, we can say the charges deposited more will be more. And if the potential difference between the two plates is less, or if we apply lower potential difference between the two plates, the charges deposited on the plates will be less. So in general, we can say that the charges which are stored on the plates of the capacitor is directly proportional to the potential difference between the plates. So if we apply more potential difference, more charges are stored on the capacitors. If we apply less potential difference, less charges are stored on the capacitors. So when I say charges, charges are nothing but denoted by Q, and the term potential difference is denoted by V. As I'm saying, greater the potential difference, greater will be the charges. That means, can we say that charges stored on the capacitor plates will be directly proportional to the potential difference between the plates? So if Q is directly proportional to V, Q indicates the charges stored on the capacitor plates, V indicates the potential difference. If they are directly proportional to each other, and if I remove a proportionality sign, we need to put a constant which is C. C is nothing but called as or taken to be capacitance. So this term C, which is obtained as the proportionality constant between Q and V proportionality, is termed as capacitance. So every capacitor has a capacitance depending on the charges deposited on the plates of the capacitor and the potential difference between the plates of the capacitor. So if we want to calculate capacitance of any capacitor, we need to just calculate the charges deposited on the plates per unit, the potential difference between the plates. So if we get to know the value of the charges stored in the capacitors and the potential difference between the plate, we can calculate the term called as C. C is nothing but representing capacitance. These are like two symbols which we make use of in terms of capacitors, either two parallel lines or a line in this manner, a little bit a curve has a second terminal. So capacitance is nothing but obtained using the two parameters, that is charges deposited, which is entirely dependent on the potential difference between the plates. Now, as you can recall that on one plate of the capacitor I have deposition of plus Q charges, because all the charges, negative charges, are getting transferred to the another plate. So one plate gets entirely positive charge and the another plate gets entirely negative charge. So one plate is entirely positive charge, one plate is entirely negative charge. In that case, if we calculate total charge stored in the whole capacitor will be plus Q minus Q is equal to 0. That is the total charge stored in the capacitor. That is plus Q of the first plate minus Q of the second plate. The whole is equal to 0. this gives me the total charge stored in the capacitor. But if we calculate the total charge in this manner, obviously I'm getting the total charge to be 0. But if we want to calculate that, how do we consider that the total charges or the charges are stored in the capacitor? So when we say that capacitor is used for storing charges, we mean to say the amount of charges which are stored on one plate of the capacitor. Because if I consider the total charge, in that case it is going to become entirely 0. But if I just consider the charges placed on the plates of the capacitor, so if I consider the charges stored on one plate of the capacitor is not equal to 0, but if I consider the total charges placed on the or stored on the capacitor is always 0. So when we say capacitor is used for storing charges, we mean to say the amount of charges stored on one plate of the capacitor. That is going to give you a certain value. But if you try to calculate total charge stored in the capacitor, you're going to get the value as 0, because plus q and minus q is entirely going to give you 0. So if you want to calculate how much number of charges are stored in the capacitor, calculate the number of charges stored on one plate of the capacitor. Next is, when you talk about capacitance of a parallel plate capacitor, this is, you say that parallel plate capacitor is a type of a capacitor like which is basically used everywhere. So in the capacitance of parallel plate capacitor, when you talk about parallel plate capacitors, you have two plates placed parallel with each other. The cross-sectional area of both the plates should be same, firstly. Secondly, they are separated by the distance of small d, and between the two plates of the capacitor there is a presence of air medium which is taken to be dielectric. And when you say positive and negative charges, if you want to calculate the capacitance of parallel plate capacitor, you can see on this left hand side plate there is a deposition of plus q charge, and on the right hand side plate we have the deposition of minus q charge. So if you want to calculate the capacitance of parallel plate capacitor, it is taken to be C is equal to Q by V, and once we calculate the V value over here, we ultimately get the value of C as epsilon naught A into D. As we are aware, epsilon naught is considered to be the permittivity of free space or vacuum. So as we are aware that between the two plates of capacitor there is a presence of air, so permittivity is going to be of free space or vacuum. A indicates the cross-sectional area of the two plates of the capacitor. Small d is the gap between the two plates of the capacitor. So we can say that, or from this equation we can obviously get that the capacitance of parallel plate capacitor depends on two parameters basically. One is area, second is the distance between the two plates of the capacitor. Thirdly, it is also dependent on the permittivity of the dielectric placed between the two plates of the capacitor. Like if I have not placed anything between the two conducting plates, then there is air between them. But if I have placed a material between them, so if there is a material in between the two plates of the capacitor, the permittivity is going to change. So capacitance of parallel plate capacitor depends on permittivity of dielectric placed between the two plates of the capacitor. So permittivity of dielectric, this dielectric can be anything, it can be air or it can be any medium, but you have to keep in mind this dielectric has to be placed between the two plates of the capacitor. Secondly, C depends on cross-sectional area of the plate of the capacitor, that is A. And lastly, C depends on the gap between the two plates, that is D. So the capacitance of parallel plate capacitor, if it is derived, it depends on three parameters. So factors affecting the capacitance: the capacitance of parallel plate capacitor depends on three parameters, that is permittivity, cross-sectional area of the plate, and D, the gap between the two plates of the capacitor. As we are aware that C is directly proportional to A. So if the plate area is lesser, the capacitance will be less. And in the second case, as you can see, the area of the plate is more, so it will lead to more capacitance because of the direct proportionality between the two parameters. Secondly, C is inversely proportional to D. That is, we say that capacitance of parallel plate capacitor is inversely proportional to the gap between the plate. That means if the gap is less, the capacitance is going to be more, as you can see in this diagram. As the gap between the plate is less, there is more capacitance. As the gap is more, it leads to less capacitance. Third affection is of the dielectric material placed between the gap of two metal plates. So if you have different dielectric material used between the gaps of the plate, the permittivity changes, and if the permittivity changes, the capacitance changes, because we are aware C is directly proportional to the permittivity. So if the gap between the two plates of the capacitor is filled with different dielectric, as the dielectric changes, permittivity changes, and permittivity changes, it is going to lead to the change of capacitance. So if the dielectric of lesser permittivity is used, the capacitance will be less. That is, for example, I have made use of air has a dielectric between the two metal plates, and if I use a dielectric material having more permittivity, for example, these are the two metal plates and it is filled with glass in between the gap. So glass is nothing but acting as a dielectric material having permittivity of around 7, that is more than air. So if the gap between the plates is filled with higher permittivity dielectric material, the capacitance will be more. As you are aware that capacitance of the material or the capacitance of the capacitor is directly proportional to the permittivity. So if the dielectric material of more permittivity is used, the capacitance will be more, and if the dielectric material of lesser permittivity is used to fill the gap, the capacitance will be less. Lastly, when you talk about the types of capacitors, you have different shapes of capacitors, or like you can have a cylindrical shaped capacitors, we can have spherical shaped capacitors. And so when we are talking about this capacitors, so ultimately when we talk about the types of capacitors, in this case we have different shapes of capacitors. We can have spherical capacitors, we can have cylindrical capacitors, depending upon the shapes of capacitors, and depending upon whether a capacitor is polarized or whether I have a capacitor of a constant value, or whether if I want to have a capacitor which gives me the change in value, that is a variable capacitor. That is, if I connect a variable capacitor to an electronic device, and if I want to keep on continuously changing the capacitance of that capacitor, in that case we are going to make use of the variable capacitor. And we have one more type of capacitors which is used for the trimming part, that is trimming of certain frequencies and everything. In that case we talk about trimmer capacitors. So these are the types of capacitors which we have considered. So when we talk about the basic components which we make use of in our day-to-day life and all the electronic devices, the one which we talk about is capacitors. So we have entirely talked about what do you mean by capacitors and the terms related to it. So this much for this video. Thank you so much.